Hey everybody, Lee Speed here. Alright, so we're gonna be talking Madolche. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about like the archetype or anything because I already did that, and you know, I even talked about Hoot Cake. But yeah, I'm mainly gonna be talking about, well, it's kind of interesting to be completely honest because, you know, a lot of people have been kind of talking about it and stuff like that. But it is about a Madolche deck that had got first place at Seattle Regionals. Now, I know some people are gonna respond immediately with hate comments about the Seattle Regionals and its meta and players and stuff like that. But hold on, we're not even at that part yet. And for the record, this is not like a hate video or anything like that. I just kind of want to, you know, give my personal thoughts on, you know, this whole conversation about this, you know, Alexander Thomas's build that, you know, he got first place with. Now, good old Alexander Thomas, he also got first, I think he got first place in a previous Seattle Regionals with the same deck, you know, before Abyss Rising came out, no less. So he was running Madolches from just Return of the Duelist at the time with a lot of tech cards like Silver Sentinel, Scrap Iron Scarecrow, Needle Ceiling, Drastic Drop Off, you know, stuff, random stuff like that. Now, you guys are probably thinking, well, those are some pretty random techs, and you know, they sound pretty random on paper. And you know, he talked about why he was running some of those cards like Needle Ceiling and Scrap Iron Scarecrow. Now, the thing with Scrap Iron Scarecrow was that, you know, it would negate an attack once per turn, and then after activation it would reset itself. But the thing is, the card would kind of force the opponent to overextend, and that's where cards like Mirror Force and Needle Ceiling would work great, especially when you're trying to control the board in a way, and he was playing more like control or whatever. So I was intrigued by this. So, you know, he was running a few interesting techs at the time. You know, he's running like Thunder King and stuff like that. Now, with the release of Hoot Cake or whatever, you know, he was running like 2 Hoot Cake, which is fine. It's like 2 to 3 Hoot Cakes in the deck is fine. You know, some run 3. I run 2 personally, but we'll talk about that later down the road. But in this regional or whatever, he was running like very interesting techs. In fact, one particular card, like one card alone that he was running, sparked a whole lot of hate comments, you know, in the video. You know, I'll link the video and the YouTube channel that posted it because, you know, they posted the deck profile or whatever. You know, don't spam hate comments because, like, you know, just watch the video, you know, listen to, you know, his reasoning and stuff like that because, you know, maybe there's something we missed. I don't know. But yeah, he was running 2 Guardian Eatos. Now, Guardian Eatos was something that I used to run in Madolche, like when it was just like, you know, the Madolches from Return of the Duelist. Now, back then, I mean, you focused on having no monsters in the graveyard because you had stuff like Madolche Pudding Sass and, you know, stuff like that where it was kind of bad to have monsters in the graveyard and all the monsters shuffle themselves into the deck whenever they go to the graveyard. And, you know, that's fine and stuff like that. It was kind of cool, but they didn't have a lot to work with, and the monsters didn't synergize as well as, you know, they do now, obviously. But yeah, I mean, when you think of Guardian Eatos, I mean, you would think it would work fine in this deck, but then you also noticed in the deck profile he was also running 3 Maxis and 2 Effect Veilers and Kaiku and some other stuff like that. Now, these monsters like Maxi and Effect Veiler, once he's used them and he draws Eatos, it's pretty much dead. But I guess technically if you got it first turn, you have no monsters in the graveyard, just slapping her on the field just with 2500 attack and some back row, I mean, I guess the opponent would have no freaking clue what he was playing because, I mean, if you just slap Guardian Eatos, you're thinking, what the heck is this guy playing? And I guess it just has that element of surprise, although it's not really a surprise now just because, you know, he has the freaking deck profile up and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, people were giving a lot of hate about, you know, Guardian Eatos in the deck because of, you know, he's running cards like Maxi and Effect Veiler. Those cards would instantly make Guardian Eatos dead because you could special summon Guardian Eatos from your hand, but you had to have no monsters in the graveyard. And she was level 7, so she's pretty dead in your hand if you have monsters in the graveyard. But I kind of understand why he was running Guardian Eatos in the deck, because of Madolche Hootcake and stuff. Because Madolche Hootcake can target a monster in your graveyard, banish it, and then special summon a Madolche from your deck. So this would help get rid of all the non-Madolches that are in the graveyard that would make Guardian Eatos dead. I'm assuming that's kind of one of his reasons behind it. Now, but again, I am not him, so I could be wrong on this, but it would make sense, in my opinion, that, you know, making Guardian Eatos live isn't bad. In fact, what I thought of at one point when I saw the deck profile was, well, if he was running like Redox, the Dragon Ruler of Boulders, in the deck, you could potentially kind of sometimes go for rank 7 plays, because you have Hootcake to remove any monster from your graveyard, and then you have Redox to remove like Earth monsters from your grave. Like maybe you have Earth Exceeds like Fairy King Alverditch or something like that you want to remove and empty the grave so that you can summon Guardian Eatos, and then you could go for a Big Eye or Dragosack. And then of course this would fuel a Hootcake play later on. But you know, he wasn't doing that, so I mean, that was just something I thought about. But I don't know, like that's what I would have done if I was running Guardian Eatos. I would have at least maybe tested that out. But you know, like there was a lot of hate around this deck just because of the random techs he was running in the deck. He was running one Mewfoy, the kitty cat. He was running only one. He was running only one, which, you know, people were kind of getting on him about. And he was running 2 Messenger Lotto. I kind of see why he was running 2, just because you don't want to draw it a lot of the time unless you have a Mewfoy. And he said he was only running 1 Mewfoy, and he said that was the right number just because, like, I guess he was running more like a control. He was running more control-like, so he's not focusing on like the OTK stuff or whatever, but he does have the option of Mewfoy and Hootcake into Invoker and blah blah blah. He still has those plays, but he's not making it like the center focus of the deck, and that's why he's not running Croissant or anything like that. And I found it interesting because I think most Madolche builds run at least 1 or 2. But again, this is just what he decided to do. He was running like 1 Chateau because he was saying that against like Dragon Rulers, it wouldn't really help him, because his reasoning is that against Dragon Rulers, you're not going to be able to outplus them too much. And I mean, you can use Tiramisu to like bounce Dracosack, but you know, they can just summon it again, so it doesn't particularly do anything. So, I mean, I kind of see why. I mean, I would run like at least 2. I mean, just in the off chance, you could go for a Tiramisu play by placing 1 Chateau on top of the other one, you know, just have a Madolche card in the grave for effect. But, you know, that's just me though, and again, that's a key point right there. It's based on the player and stuff like that. And, you know, he's running Offering, Phoenix Chains, and the Scrap Iron Scarecrow tech of the day. He pretty much, that and Guardian Eatos were his highlight techs, pretty much the techs that got him far or whatever. And now people look at stuff like Scrap Iron Scarecrow and they're pretty much like, what the heck? I don't know, it just seems interesting to say the least. It's definitely different from other Madolche decks we've seen so far, because I don't think any Madolche deck I've seen ran Scrap Iron Scarecrow besides his. And then, you know, he was running Eatos. And the thing is, technically Eatos isn't always dead, but I do worry that it can be dead at the wrong time, especially when you're playing against Dragon Rulers. Like, you really don't want to have cards that don't do anything against Dragon Rulers, because otherwise they're just gonna spam an OTK sometimes, or even just go Big Eye, take your monsters, and then you'd be looking pretty salty. And there was a lot of hate in the comments. I mean, there was salt everywhere. It's like someone freaking spilled a container of salt and they didn't freaking throw salt over their left shoulder or whatever. But that's beside the point. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. He didn't want to go for the OTK variant, and that's why he was running, you know, weird tech choices and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like, I don't know the guy or whatever. I mean, he might be a really good player. And the thing is, you know, while I may question cards in his deck, I cannot hate on it. I mean, I don't have a reason to hate it. I mean, the only thing I could hate about it is the Guardian Eatos, but then again, I kind of understand why he was running it in the deck. And that's the thing, like, even if I don't like it in the deck, even if I wouldn't run Guardian Eatos, I mean, I run Pudding Cess. And here's the thing with Pudding Cess, if I was choosing between like Guardian Eatos and Pudding Cess, I would run Pudding Cess. Because at least Pudding Cess can do something at any given time if you have like Mefoy in the hand, or if she's in your deck and you're getting her out with Hoot Cake. Like, she can do something, all right? Like, when in my Tunnel Merlantian deck, Abyss Hill is like, she's not the worst mermail. She's terrible, but she can do something, all right? She can do something. That's the thing. Like, some of these weird cards I run, they can do something, all right? And I worry that Guardian Eatos at times cannot do something because she could be dead. But, you know, that's just my opinion. And, you know, he was talking about all this other stuff, like he's citing Marmalade against like decks that run, you know, more control base, so he can go more into, he would run more of the cards that would be like more control based, like he had another Chateau and stuff like that. So you could pretty much switch the variant up, you know, just depending on the matchup. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. I mean, the thing with his deck, he can play his deck certainly much better than anybody else. And if you want to try to play it or whatever, card for card, I mean, you might fail. I mean, I'm probably going to fail because I'm not going to have any clue of his play style. And honestly, it's this guy's play style. And I can't really hate on him because, you know, kind of like me, I run weird shit in my decks. And people might not agree with them. And I may have to have a few duel videos to show that, oh, X card is good sometimes, but it is not necessary. It is not standard. Like, you know, I'm going to keep bringing this up. Like, Abyss Hild in the Tidal Mermail deck I'm running. Like, I run only one because I do not want to draw her. But if I do, she's not entirely dead. There are combos you can use with her. And the thing is, she can do something. While those options are few and far between, she's mainly a target for Abyss Oshia. And the thing is, it's kind of more for fun, but, you know, I want people to understand why I'm running some of these cards. And, you know, I'm sure same applies to Alexander Thomas. I'm pretty sure that, you know, he wanted people to understand why he was running these random tags like Scrap Iron Scarecrow and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Like, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. It's kind of weird and stuff like that, but, you know, maybe you guys hate it. Maybe you guys kind of understand. I'm kind of like middle of the road. Like, I see where the hate comes from, but at the same time, I feel like there's a bit too much of it. I don't know, too much salt maybe? I don't know. It's really up to the players, though, and the meta game around them. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this madness, and talk to you guys later. Peace.